the legislature had 5 days to come up with something new to get the process in place, and the Democrats came up with something new, a slightly better map, but whether it's sufficient under the law, as the court has delineated it, is an open question. I want to give you a brief update about something else before I get into our next group of lawsuits. I told you last week how Judicial Watch had a significant victory for clean elections, or against election rigging in Maryland, where after a trial in which we represented plaintiffs who were challenging a Maryland gerrymander by the Democratic legislature. Gerrymandering is the jiggering of maps to create partisan advantage generally in congressional districting. The court found that it was an extreme gerrymandering under the Constitution of Maryland and threw it out. And just now, the court evidently finished a hearing because essentially the legislature had 5 days to come up with something new to get the process in place, and the Democrats came up with something new, a slightly better map, but whether it's sufficient under the law, as the court has delineated it, is an open question. So the question is, what happens next? The court ruled that she can't do anything now because they just passed it. It hasn't been signed by the governor yet, so there's technically no map for her to bless, and the matter is under appeal. So they passed the new map while appealing her ruling. So the court said, well, there's nothing I can technically do, or she believed that there was anything she could technically do now. So we'll see what happens on appeal. We'll see what happens once Governor Hogan either signs it or vetoes it, and whether that veto is overridden and where things stand there. But the big point is, we won. We made elections less, well, in the end, it will be less rigging of elections in Maryland. Whether it's perfect or not is an open question. But the map that they had was an outrage. And I see, based on, frankly, our lead, a New York court similarly threw out a partisan gerrymander in New York that was really an abuse of power as well. And again, it's not a question of parties in power. When you have a party controlling a legislature and or the governorship of a state, they have a right to draw the congressional maps under our constitutional system. But they are constrained by the federal Constitution, obviously, in terms of racial discrimination and things like that. And there are state constitutional requirements that we highlighted in Maryland. And it's one thing to kind of make it work best as you can within the law under your party, for your party. It's another thing to abuse your authority to essentially destroy the voting rights of your opposition in a way that's abusive. And that's what was going on in Maryland. And I don't know if they adequately fixed it or not under law. We're going to analyze it closely and figure out what's going on there. But this case isn't over because they're appealing it. But there's little doubt, based on my understanding of what's happening, that the terrible map in Maryland is going to be better in the end than it was, than the status quo. And the reason it's going to be better is in large measure thanks to Judicial Watch's lawsuit. Now, there was another plaintiff in the case too that also sued, and so we were in trial with them as well, so they deserve credit. But I tell you, Judicial Watch, again, doing the heavy lifting for election integrity.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.